Produced by Podcast Architects.
Welcome back to another episode of The Path Forward here at TASA Midwinter in Austin, Texas. I'm joined by a first-year outstanding superintendent, Dr. Tiffany Spicer from Buna ISD.
Yes, sir.
Welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you for having me.
I am so excited because rarely do I get to talk to someone right on the job. And like myself, I wish I had some people to talk to when I was new. So, all right, let's jump right in. Tell me a little bit about you started in September. Tell me some highlights from that first semester.
All right, then. So I was named in August. I went and had the opportunity just to meet each of my board members and talk to them privately. I did a lot of one-on-ones with the team, with the principal, directors, and everyone. And then that Monday, September 12th, that was my board meeting. Great board meeting.
Okay.
Took lots of pictures. You'll see some on my website. But after that, the first day of school was that Tuesday. And for me, I'm like, 90-day plan. We're going to work that plan. We're not going to touch anything. We're going to listen.
Right.
I said I'm going to listen. I'm a woman of my word. However, I had to bite my tongue. We had some situations, just with personnel,
right.
And I had to reassign an individual on my campus. And when that happened, I took care of business, very professional, but social media is a beast. I didn't post anything, but I tell you what, my phone was on fire, Facebook was on fire, Twitter was on fire, and so I'm like, okay, I have people calling my office. Hi, here, you're the new superintendent. I heard you fired your AD. And I was like, no, I didn't fire anyone, but I did reassign some people. We had some personal issues. Not a big deal. But it's a big deal because guess what? It's athletics.
Absolutely.
In Texas.
Absolutely.
But everything was smooth, and you have to make the right decision for kiddos.
Absolutely.
And I have some great staff and some great team members, and I want to make sure everybody has their dignity, and you just do everything with love and grace. And so that was an opportunity for me to just kind of come in and just make some decisions for kids. Yes, it's hard, but it is what it is.
So, obviously we've got some colleagues in common, and you hear all the stories, and you hear like, hey, when you get into the seat, you don't know what it is until you get into the seat.
Yeah.
And so you probably had in your mind, like I did, like, all right, this is how the start is going to be.
Absolutely.
It's going to be very much a honeymoon, and then you get there, and here you go, like let's start solving stuff. So, how did you take all of that in and take a deep breath, and frame it and say, all right, well, it's part of the job, and I just got to go to work. What was your thought process?
Simply this: every decision I make has to be in the best interest of our students. That's what helps me sleep at night. So I have not had a honeymoon yet. It's funny you say that. So the week after that happened, we had a bus accident. Someone hit one of our buses, and then they fled the scene.
Oh, my goodness.
So I'm there. I'm living in Beaumont, 30 minutes away. I'm speeding, trying not to get a ticket, but I had to check on my kiddos.
Right.
And make sure our bus driver's safe. And we took care of it. Everybody's smooth. But I got to see everybody come together. We had our volunteer fire department from our neighboring town, another town, EMS, our state troopers, everybody just came together to take care of our Buna babies. And it was just amazing. So even then when we're communicating to the community, we're like, hey, this is what happened. It's not a secret. I want everybody to know from us, hopefully first.
Sure.
But also, I made sure in our letters and communications that we thank the people who were there. A lot of times they're just focused on the incident and not the people who did the work.
Right.
So that was important to me, just to thank the people who made sure everybody was safe in the process. So we've had, I'll say, event after event. And again, it's one of those, I have taken the time to listen and stop, but when things happen that impact our students or our community, you have to make a call and you have to make a decision that you believe is in the best interest of that entity.
Absolutely.
And so I believe in doing that, but I still took the time, and I still take the time even though I'm past the 90 days, just to listen, hear people's heart, hear the story of our community, and make sure that I can live that out for them.
So when do you actually get to the honeymoon?
I don't know, because I haven't had it yet. My team, they just chuckle, and they're just like, when are you going to get a honeymoon? So I don't know. I don't think I'm getting one, so I'm in it.
No. You know better. You got to have a honeymoon, right? Don't forego the honeymoon. Even if you're two broke people and starting to get married, gotta figure it out. Gotta have a honeymoon.
You're right.
So, as you're thinking through this, like you've got these events that are happening that you've got to deal with, right? What are some of the lessons that you've learned through different mentors, leaders that kind of grounded you and helped you get through that situation? Is there anybody when you shout out that's like, hey, this advice really served me well?
Take care of people and take care of yourself. Those are the two things that kind of come to mind. Paper, processes, all that stuff, it comes and goes.
Mm-hmm.
But love on your people, invest in your people. I have the great fortune to have several great mentors. Before I went to Buna, I was in Beeville.
Yes, I've heard of Beeville.
Have you?
Yes.
Do you know a guy by the name of Travis Fanning by chance?
I do know him. I do know him. He's a big Dallas Cowboys fan.
Oh, yes, and I'm one too. He just loves that I love the Cowboys, and he loves that I love the Anna Maggies too. How about that?
His board is going to like that comment more than he will.
I know,
I'm
right?
quite sure.
You're so right. But he was very just instrumental in just letting me lead multiple programs and multiple things for the district, and I just got to lead and just kind of experience that, and so that I believe truly helped me in Buna. And then also I got to give a shout out to 3 women who are just pouring into me and continually do before then and even now. Dr. Goffney from Aldine.
Yeah, she's unbelievable.
She is amazing. Martha Salazar-Moore from
She's
Commonwealth.
unbelievable too.
Yes, Jill Seiler here at TASA.
Outstanding.
Those are my ladies. If I tell you, they'll just say, I'm texting just to check on you. How we doing? Or I'll say, hey, I just got to let y'all know,
Mm-hmm.
You know, so they have just been instrumental in the work that I get to do, and I'm excited about that. But just taking care of people. And I try to model that and just tell my staff that. So I send an email. It's a little flyer, booklet, template thing that I send to the staff every second Sunday with Spicer. That's what it's called.
I like that.
And it's kind
Look
of
at
cool.
you.
Yeah, we're getting it done.
I like that.
But we just kind of, I just kind of put what's on my heart, what I've seen. I talk about the kids and their successes, the teachers and their successes, and just try to make sure people feel affirmed and heard and valued. And if I tell you, I think that's a game changer.
Mm-hmm.
They even asked me to send out Monday motivation. So when I don't do a second Sunday, which is once a month, every Monday they get something.
Right.
Whether it's a quote or a video.
Pick me up.
Or even send some hot chocolate. I was like, hey, Monday motivation, go to your offices right now. There's going to be hot chocolate when you get there. So just something you love on people and you value them, and then make sure you're taking care of yourself to do this work. This is hard work mentally and physically.
Yes.
And so for me, I got to a point maybe 5 years ago to where I was like, okay, you got to work out, because I was growing. I was being more full-figured than I am today. How about that? I'll say it that way.
That's a great way
And
to phrase
so
it.
I've tried to reduce that, and I have, so I'm to a place where I feel good about myself.
Good.
And I work out, and I take time for me. I read my Bible. I listen to my music, and I read fiction just to get away from reality, and that helps me.
Yes.
So when I go to work, they have all of me.
Yes.
And so I try to model that and do that, but I also told them, this is how I lead. It's my faith is first, my family, my health, and then my career.
Right.
And it's not that you guys aren't as important, but if I don't have those 3 things in order first, I can't take care of you and help you. And I think they respect that. And I hope they're modeling it. Some people have said, okay, I get that. They do turn their computers off on the weekend,
Good.
things like that. And so I try to model my expectations for our crew.
How do you take, in terms of characterizing your leadership, right? So we come to conferences and we have mentors in our life. And I've always found that I try to take pieces, but also understand that there's certain things that I'm not going to be able to replicate that
Correct.
other people do, whether it's through the way that they think or how they're brilliant, and I try to think, all right, well, I can do this. I do this well that may not be exactly like that. But how do you take the pieces from your different influences and mold that into who you are as a leader?
I think I really just take the time just to watch and listen. Everybody has their own style, and I think mine has just evolved with my experiences that I've had.
Mm-hmm.
And then what I'm learning is, as I've been able just to share my journey with people, I've had the opportunity to speak at TCWSC this week,
Okay.
and been on a couple panels here in TASA. And what I'm learning is, to me, it seems like it's not a big deal, but I'm like, hey, this is my journey, this is what I learned, and I'm very authentic, I'm very transparent. I talk about the ugly, the good,
Gotcha.
and everything, right? And so a lot of people have come up to me and say, you know what, you just inspired me, you just encouraged me. And I'm thinking, that's just what happened, But I think my delivery is this is it.
Yeah.
You get to see me.
Right.
And so I'm not, there's no fake Tiffany, it's just like, this is what it is.
Good,
So I
good,
think-
bad, or
Yeah, and I think because I just shoot straight, people are like, you know what, I want that. I want to know how she does that. And so that's just been, I think, how I was raised.
Yeah.
And,
Yep.
how I've poured into people over the years and how people have poured into me. So I think it just comes out like, you better be authentic, you better be genuine, you better be true, and let's go.
You know, you bring up a interesting point, and I've had several of our colleagues the last couple of days, and I've posed this question to them. So we're here at a conference, and you have an opportunity to hear from amazing leaders, and there's panels, and there's fireside chats. You know what you don't get a lot of is, you know what, let's dive into all of the mistakes that we've made, why we made them, the thinking process, so that we learn from those.
Yes.
And so by you saying and you sharing right off the bat, diving into, hey, there, bumps, started the job, bumps in the road. That is so critical because that vulnerability will inspire others to be vulnerable, because that's the way we learn best. I learn best by making a mistake or hearing a thought process behind a mistake.
Yes.
Because there's a lot of people that I can't replicate what they do. I can't replicate their charisma, their knowledge. I can't do that. But what I can do is learn from their thinking process.
Yes.
I would encourage you, and I hope that you agree, like that piece that you just shared with us for the next generation, and you are that next generation, we've got to keep that transparency and that vulnerability.
Absolutely. That's the only way you can do it. And life is short, and you want to make sure that you make the best decisions each and every day. But you got to be authentic. You got to be real. And I was telling one of the panel groups the other day that people can read past the fake.
Oh, yeah.
They can read past the fluff, and they don't have time for it, because guess what? We're getting it and getting inundated with it. They're looking for something real, authentic, genuine, a person they can just say, listen, let me let my hair down. Let me just tell you what just happened.
Yeah.
That's what we need. And if we're going to do right by our students, our districts, our communities, and our families, you got to be real. You got to be authentic. And you got to take that time to know, where you are, what the needs are, what the values are, what a sacred cow is.
Yeah.
And make sure you make decisions that are ethical and legal, but in the best decision of the people that you serve.
Yeah.
My thing is this, and I tell my team, we are here to serve. I said, yes, I have the title of superintendent, but I am the lead server. So if I'm the one who serves, guess what? And you're on my team, you're serving too.
Absolutely.
And we have stakeholders and people that we answer to. And so if we remember that, I think we'll be in a good spot. And we can make the right decisions for kids, and it's a little bit easier. And when people do challenge or question you, they'll be like, you know what, I can't fight that.
Right.
Because I know they're doing what's right for our system.
And even when they make a mistake, it's a mistake because of what they believe to be the best interest of students.
And that's easier, a little bit easier to forgive.
It is. It's a little bit easier to forgive, a little bit easier to swallow, particularly with your school board.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this, because I've especially with your first superintendency, what made you the most nervous so far? Like, is it your first board meeting? Is it your first staff address? Like, is there one that you're like, all right?
Okay. Ooh, I'm gonna be vulnerable right here. So, elections.
Why?
We had elections coming, and I had 7 people who voted me in. And so because it was November, I was on the job maybe 2 months.
Right.
And so, we heard that people were running. And
Sure.
so we had people running, and I have 3 new board members. We have 3 seats. I have 3 new board members. And so for me, it's like they did not get to see me interview.
Right.
They did not meet me initially.
Sure.
So they're going based off either what they've heard, or maybe they saw me on the sidelines screaming for the kiddos, acting a fool, right?
Right.
But they don't know me.
Right.
And so that was something that made me like, okay, how are we going to handle this? Because they don't know me.
Sure.
So what I did is once they were, elected, I reached out to them. They were sworn in, and I set up some one-on-ones.
Sure.
And I just wanted to hear from them. Let them ask me anything. Nothing was off the table. They could ask anything they wanted, because, again, they don't know me. And so I have the opportunity to build relationships, build trust, and make some new partners in this work. And so I wanted to make sure that I just kind of was authentic, and this is me. And, hopefully over time we can kind of build a relationship and kind of get going where we need to. So that was one of the things that I knew was coming, but I didn't know how it was going to play out.
Right.
And so sometimes that might change the trajectory or even the speed or things like that. So I just had to, think through and process.
If you were going to put billboards up across the state,
Ooh, okay.
right?
Yes.
About Buna ISD, what would it say? And it doesn't have to be, maybe it's a future vision, maybe it's something to recruit staff. What would it say?
I got you right now.
Okay.
So funny thing, we just had like a spring convocation. So I was not there for the first days of school. All right. We come back in January and we have a spring convocation. We have a guest speaker. I got to speak to the staff for the first time altogether.
Okay.
So fast forward, it's over, and the ladies come back to the office. They are fired up. They were like, oh my gosh, this was such a great day. You did great. He did great. Everybody's great. And they were like, we need a new hashtag. Because we had one, previously said building better Cougars.
Okay.
And my personal hashtag is Inspire Excellence. It's on everything you see, everything, everywhere. Tiffany Spicer, Inspire Excellence. That's it. So the ladies, we had a group text, and we're just like texting and brainstorming. And so our new one is hashtag Cougars Inspiring Excellence. And the point behind that is we want everything we do, everything we touch, everything we say to be done in excellence. Mm-hmm. Not just getting better, but if we strive for excellence, we might not reach it, but we know that's the goal and that's the intent. That's our standard in
Right.
Buna ISD. And if everybody's working towards that, we're going to be fine. We're going to be amazing. So that's what we're working on right now.
It's really irritating that you knew that so well. I was hoping to stump you.
Oh.
You just that, yeah. It's just, oh well.
I'm ready for you. I'm
Yes,
ready.
you are.
I'm excited.
All right, let's have some fun.
Let's go.
Being that we know Mr. Travis Fanning,
Yeah.
do you have any funny stories you could share, or maybe an impression? Is there anything that he has done that you could share?
I'm trying to say, what can I share about Mr. Travis Fanning? So he's a hoot, number one. He and I think we work really, really well together. I think I was his like checks and balances. So sometimes in board meetings, he's sitting on the dais with the board, and I'm sitting on the side, and I'm like his go-to. So he's looking at me, and I'm looking at him like, fix your face. Fix your face.
He's looking at you, or you telling him?
I'm telling him.
Fix his
Can't
face.
nobody see me. My back's to the audience. I'm living my best life. He's not so much, And it wasn't anything crazy, but
Right.
it's every now and then I'd have to send him that text message, or I'd be like, hey, hold your head up, smile, it's going to be fine.
Yeah.
So I think it was cool that we had that just relationship to where I'd be like, boy, get yourself together.
Yeah.
And he listened and respected. Or if, I don't know, I might say something funny and he might start laughing and everybody's looking at him at the board is like, what's wrong with him? And I knew it was my fault, but I just like, let me break the ice. So we had fun together. He's a
Good.
great person.
Absolutely.
A great person to work with and learn from. And then our families, we just, became pretty tight. So it's kind of cool.
You got to have that balance because I've had to have many people through all roles from when I was a principal, like
Yes.
hey, you got to smile. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
You're walking around here with everybody can see your brain.
Yes.
And it may just be me thinking through, scheduling or something.
Absolutely.
But my face, I mean,
I got it bad too. I hear you.
but you have to have someone that's kind of reminding, like, hey,
You do.
hey,
You do.
everybody's looking at you.
Smile. You
Right?
cannot not smile.
That's
Keep it on.
exactly
Keep
right.
it on. Yes.
Okay, to close us out, biggest lesson learned so far.
Biggest lesson, listen.
Yep.
I knew it,
Yeah.
but just to listen and do that and stay with it. And so I think I scared my team in Buna, teachers and principals and everybody. So I told them I was going to listen. So I would go sit in PLCs. I'd go sit in meetings. I'd go sit with teachers, and I'm just listening. And they're freaking out because she didn't say anything.
Right.
Is she mad at us? Does she like us?
Right.
And so that kind of made people nervous. But I had to remind them, I told you I wanted to just listen and hear.
Right.
No judgment, no thoughts, no anything. I just want to understand who we are, why we do what we do, and see how I can support and kind of continue to take us further. So just listen.
That's great advice. Great advice and a great list. Looking back, I probably should have done more of that than charging in and trying to find the solutions. And that's one of the things that I don't know how to turn that part of me off, but I do need to turn up. I need to listen.
One thing, and I'll tell you a little secret for me. I keep a notebook with me, and I write down different things. So I have thoughts.
Yes.
My mind does not turn off ever. So I write things down, or if I don't have that, I have my phone. I have a note.
It helps you
section.
get it out.
I get it out,
Yeah.
and I'm listening, and I'm just like, don't you open your mouth. Don't you open your mouth. Keep it shut. and that's my way.
Because we're all problem solvers.
Yeah. I want to come with a solution, but sometimes my team needs to say it, and I need to affirm them, and they need to know that I believe in them and their solution. So I've learned that over time and over several different positions, and so I really, really try my best to make sure I listen.
That's great advice, and I needed an outlet for that, and I had not thought about just put it down on paper. And I love to read and write, all of those things.
Yes.
That's great advice. It's great advice for any leaders, really. So thank you for sharing that.
Yes, sir.
Have you had a good time?
I have. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you for joining me. I mean, I really, I thought about it. I was like, I wonder, I thought about asking you earlier, but I was like, she just got there. Let it settle a little bit before you start asking her, hey, to come on and share some stories.
I will always come back because I just think it's important just to share our stories.
Absolutely.
I started my blog. I said I was going to blog when I was a superintendent. And so I just put my first issue out in January.
Well, share it.
And,
share it. Plug your Twitter site. And,
okay. Yeah.
Come
At
on.
Dr. Tiffany Spicer is my Twitter. The website is www.tiffanytspicer.com. And that's kind of where I'm just pinning my story and sharing. And I think it's I'm getting text messages as feedback saying, you are helping me so much. Because I hear that it's glamour and it's lights, and I'm like, no, it's not.
Dude.
It's work, and you're going to be mentally drained, but it's fun, and I wouldn't trade it. But let me show you what's really going on. So that's kind of where I just put it all out there.
Well, so to our listeners, our viewers, first, if you'd like, subscribe, please comment. And I want to thank you for joining me. And you're going to come back and do it again?
Absolutely.
You're going to invite me down to
Yes.
to the.
You want to come to Buna?
I want to come to the Triangle. Is
right.
that considered part of the Golden Triangle?
I think we are.
Okay.
If not, we're on the outskirts of it. But I know I keep hearing the term, so I'm assuming we are.
All right.
Buna, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sorry, guys.
Well, thank you for joining me.
My pleasure. Thank you.
All right.
Produced by Podcast Architects.